In the book of Daniel, I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said, How long shall be this vision, the continual sacrifice and the transgression that wasteth, to give both the sanctuary and the army to be trampled down? 8, 9, 13. And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. When ye see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that her desolation is at hand. Luke 21:20. Welcome everyone. Today we are diving into the subject of armies in the Word. There are many wars throughout the Word. The Lord continually combated the hells when he was on earth, and he continually uses them to fight for us from the evils of hell, as you may recognize by the end. We will be reading through many scriptures throughout the Word about armies. You will be able to recognize that warfare in the Word, and by war are meant the things that are of spiritual warfare and war, as also arms, such as spears, shields, bows, arrows and swords, as it is in our spiritual lives, and in many churches. And because it is truths or doctrinal things by means of which spiritual combats are waged, therefore by armies these are meant, and also in the opposite sense things false or heretical. That both are signified in the word by armies may be seen from many passages, as in Daniel. One horn of the he-goat grew exceedingly toward the south, and toward the sunrise and toward beauty, and it grew even to the army of the heavens, and some of the army and of the stars it cast down to the ground, and trampled upon them. Yea, it magnified itself even to the prince of the army. His army was given over with the continual sacrifice to transgression, and it cast down truth to the ground. I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said, How long shall be this vision, the continual sacrifice and the transgression that wasteth, to give both the sanctuary and the army to be trampled down? Daniel 8, 9, 13. The horn which grew toward the south, toward the sunrise, and toward beauty, is the power of falsity from doing evil. The armies of the heavens are truths. The prince of the army is the Lord as to divine truth, and because in a good sense an army is truth. It is said that the horn cast down of the army to the ground, and afterwards that it cast truth to the ground. Again, the king of the north, those in false doctrines, shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and he shall come on at the end of the times of years, coming with a great army, and with much substance. And he shall stir up his power and his heart against the king of the south, the Lord's divine truths, with a great army, and the king of the south, the Lord's truths, shall war in battle with an exceeding great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they that eat of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow. And many, those in false beliefs, shall fall down slain. Daniel 11, 13, 25, 26. The subject of this whole chapter is the war between the king of the north and the king of the south, and by the king of the north are meant falsities, as also by his army. And by the king of the south and his army are meant truths. It is a prophecy of the devastation of the Christian church. In John, I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. He was clothed in a garment dipped in blood, and his armies in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen white and clean. They are the ones that do his righteous acts. His robe is dipped in blood, represents those that continually bloody his word. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the horse and against his army. Revelation 19:11, 13, 14, 19. He that sat upon the white horse denotes the Lord's word, or the Lord as to the word. His armies in heaven that followed him denote the truths therefrom, consequently those in heaven who are in truths. The beast denotes the evils of the love of self, which include faith alone and other heretical man-made teachings today. So therefore, the kings of the earth and their armies denote false doctrines. The combats of falsity with truth are what are here described. In David, by the word of Jehovah were the heavens made, and all the army of them by the breath of his mouth. Psalm 33:6. The army of them, or of the heavens, denotes truths. Because truths are signified by an army, the sons of the kingdom and the angels from the truths in which they are called the army of the heavens. As in Luke, suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly army praising God. Luke 2:13. In David, bless Jehovah all ye his armies, ye ministers of his, that do his will. Psalm 103:21. Again, praise ye him all his angels, praise ye him all his army. Psalm 148:2. In Isaiah, lift up your eyes on high and see who hath created these, he that bringeth out their army by number. He calleth them all by name. Of the multitude of the powerful and of the mighty, not a man is lacking. Isaiah 40:26. Again, I have made the earth and created man upon it. I, my hands have stretched out the heavens, and all their army have I commanded. Isaiah 45:12. Where the army of the heavens denotes truths, thus the angels, because they are in truths, as has been shown. In the first book of Kings, I saw Jehovah sitting on his throne, and all the army of the heavens standing by him on his right hand and on his left. 22:19. In Joel, Jehovah uttereth his voice before his army, for his camp is, for he is strong that doeth his word. Joel 2:11. In Zechariah, I will encamp about my house against the army that passeth through and returneth, and no exactor shall pass through them any more. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Make a loud noise, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. Zechariah 9:8-9. Where the coming of the Lord is treated of, his army denotes truths divine. It is from this, and also because the Lord alone fights for man against the hells, which are in the continual effort to assault us, that in the word the Lord is so often called Jehovah Zebaoth, God Zebaoth, the Lord Zebaoth, that is, of armies. As in Isaiah, the voice of a tumult of the kingdoms of the nations gather together, Jehovah Zebaoth mustereth the army for the battle. Isaiah 13:4. The kingdoms of the nations denote falsities from evils. Mustering the army for the battle denotes fighting for man. Also, the 12 tribes of Israel represented the Lord's heavenly kingdom. In Hebrew, 12 means that the Lord has a perfect government, and tribes, in Hebrew, means a collection, and likewise 12 signified all things of faith in one complex, that is, all truths of the kingdom. Therefore also they were called the armies of Jehovah, as in Exodus 7:4, 12:17, 41, and 51. And it was commanded that they should be brought out of Egypt according to their armies, Exodus 6:26, and should meet out the camp according to their armies, Numbers 1:52, and should be distributed into their armies, Numbers 3. That by armies are signified truths is evident also in Ezekiel. Persia and Lud and Put were in thine army, thy men of war. They hanged the shield and the helmet in thee, they set forth thine honor. The sons of Arvad and their army were upon thy walls round about, and the Gammadim were in thy towers. Ezekiel 27:10, 11. Speaking of Tyre, by which are signified the interior knowledges of good and truth, and thus those who are therein, army, denotes the truths themselves. That Lud and Put are also those who are in knowledges may be seen above. Shield and helmet are such things as pertain to spiritual combat or war. That in the opposite sense armies signify false beliefs is manifest in Isaiah. It shall come to pass in that day that Jehovah shall visit upon the army of the height in the height, and upon the kings of the earth upon the earth. Isaiah 24:21. Where the armies of the height denote false beliefs from the love of self, or again faith alone and other evil doctrines. In Ezekiel, I will bring thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen. Their horses mean their understanding, all of them completely clad, a great company with buckler and shield, all of them handling swords. Thou shalt come from thy place out of the sides to the north, out of the false beliefs. Thou and many peoples with thee, all of them riding on horses, a great company and a mighty army. Ezekiel 38:4-15. Speaking of Gog, by whom is signified external worship separate from internal, thus become idolatrous, his army denotes false beliefs. And in Jeremiah, I will send against Babylon him that bendeth, bending his bow and lifting up himself in his coat of mail. Spare ye not her young men, give to the curse all her army. Jeremiah 51:2-3. Babylon denotes worship the externals of which appear holy, but the interiors are profane. Her army is the falsities of such profane interiors, as in like manner the army of Babylon in other passages. Jeremiah 32:2, 34:1-21, 39:1. In Ezekiel, Pharaoh shall see them and shall be comforted over all his multitude, Pharaoh and all his army, slain by the sword. For I will put the terror of me in the land of the living. Ezekiel 32, 31-32. Speaking of Egypt, by which are signified those who pervert truths by reasonings from simple beliefs they've been taught, such as faith alone. His army, or the army of Pharaoh, denotes falsities. Therefrom the like is also signified by the army of Pharaoh in other passages. Jeremiah 37, 5, 7, 11, 46, 2, Ezekiel 17:17. In Luke, when ye see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that her desolation is at hand. Luke 21:20. Where the consummation of the age is treated of, or the last time of the church, when there is no longer any true faith. That by Jerusalem is signified the church, which is compassed with armies when it is beset by false teachings and doctrines that are not the Lord's. Hence it is evident that by the armies of the heavens which the Jews and idolaters adored, in the spiritual sense were signified false beliefs, concerning which in the second book of Kings, they forsook all the commandments of their God, and made them a molten image, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and bowed themselves down to all the army of the heavens. 2 Kings 17:16. This is said of the Israelites, and in another place it is written concerning Manasseh, that he built altars for all the army of the heavens. 2 Kings 21:5. And again that Josiah the king brought forth out of the temple all the vessels made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the army of the heavens. 2 Kings 23:4. And in Jeremiah that they should bring out the bones of the princes, of the priests, and of the prophets, and should spread them before the sun and the moon, and all the army of the heavens which they have loved, and which they have served, and after which they have walked. Jeremiah 8:1-2. And again, the houses of Jerusalem and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be unclean like Tophet, as to all the houses upon whose roofs they have burned incense unto all the army of the heavens, and have poured out drink offerings unto other gods. Jeremiah 19:13. And in Zephaniah, I will stretch out mine hand against them that worship the army of the heavens upon the roofs. Zephaniah 1:4-5. Or it is principally the stars that are called the army of the heavens, and that by the stars are signified truths, and in the opposite sense falsities may be seen above. That truths and goods are the armies of Jehovah is evident in Daniel. There went out one little horn of the he-goat, and it grew exceedingly toward the south, the Lord's truly divine truths, and toward the east, and toward comeliness, and it grew even to the army of the heavens, and some of the army and of the stars it cast down to the earth, and trampled upon them. Yea, it exalted itself even to the prince of the army, and the army was delivered upon the continual sacrifice unto transgression, because it cast forth truth into the earth. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. It is here clearly evident that armies denote truths and goods, for it is said that it cast down to the earth some of the army and of the stars, and afterward that it cast forth truth into the earth, and that the army was to be trampled on until the evening and the morning, that is, until the coming of the Lord. As truths and goods are the armies of Jehovah, therefore the angels are called his armies in these passages. Micah the prophet said, I saw Jehovah sitting on his throne, and the whole army of the heavens standing by him. 1 Kings 22:19. Bless Jehovah, ye his angels, mighty in strength. Bless Jehovah, all ye his armies, ye ministers of his. Psalm 103:20-21. Where the angels are called armies from the truths and goods in which they are. Nor were the angels only called the armies of Jehovah, but also the luminaries of heaven, as the sun, moon, and stars, and this because by the sun was signified the good of love, by the moon the good of faith, and by the stars the knowledges of good and truth. That these luminaries are called armies is manifest in the book of Genesis. And the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the army of them, Genesis 2:1, whereby army are meant all the luminaries of heaven, but in the spiritual sense, in which is here described the new creation of man, are meant truths and goods. In like manner in David, praise ye Jehovah all his angels, praise ye him, all his armies, praise ye him sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light, Psalm 148:2-3. That the sun denotes the good of love, the moon the good of faith, and that the stars denote the knowledges of good and truth. According to the words in Daniel, that the sun, moon, and stars signify goods and truths, is because in heaven the Lord is a sun to the celestial angels, and a moon to the spiritual angels, and because the angelic abodes shine like the stars as told. Then shall the intelligent shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that make many righteous as the stars forever and to eternity. Daniel 12:3. As from truths and goods the angels are called the armies of Jehovah, and so also the sun, moon, and stars, and as all truth and good proceed from the Lord. Therefore in the word the Lord is called Jehovah Zebaoth, that is, of armies. He is so called also from the fact that he fights for man against the hells. From all this it could be seen what is meant in the spiritual sense by the armies of Jehovah. That the sons of Jacob who went forth out of Egypt were not these armies, but that they represented them is evident from their life in Egypt, in that they did not know Jehovah, not even his name, until this was told to Moses out of the bramble, Exodus 3:13-16. And also that they, equally with the Egyptians, were worshippers of a calf, as may be concluded from the 32nd chapter of Exodus, and also from their life in the wilderness, in that they were of such a character that they could not be introduced into the land of Canaan, the true church, thus were as far as possible from being the armies of Jehovah. It is here clearly evident that armies denote truths and goods, for it is said that it cast down to the earth some of the army and of the stars. And afterward that it cast forth truth into the earth, and that the army was to be trampled on until the evening and the morning, that is, until the coming of the Lord. Thanks for watching. We will be delving into the murder of horsemen at the Euphrates in the book of Revelation in an upcoming video. If you would like to be notified when we upload new videos, just click the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Until then, feel free to watch our many other videos on other biblical subjects. Until next time.